to the show. Take up to the show. David, am I full screen or not, buddy? I'm seeing half of the deal here. I can't tell. All right, good. Cool. I sometimes see what's going on in the production studio, and then I see what's going on the screen, and I never know what's actually happening. But then again, I never know what's actually happening ever in life, do I? It's good to be with you guys. It is Thursday. Welcome to the program. I hope everybody is having a fantastic morning, and we are going to talk about Halloween today. And just because I like to stir the pot, and I already did it on Facebook a little while ago, before I get into that, I got to tell you guys, are y'all in the chat? Let me see with some of those dancing bananas. Let me pull the chat up. I got it everywhere. I got it on my whatever this thing is, my phone. I've got it on my iPad. I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere. I see myself here, there, here, and everywhere. So they've been working in the little cabin in the woods. They've been working here. We've been putting it together, trying to, build a little tiny home so I can live in it. And the guys have been here for like a week or so. And it's been completely quiet. I don't understand them because they're Armenian. I understand a few words here and there. And I toss a few words at them. I don't know that they really know what I'm talking about. But it's been totally quiet here while the men have been working. I mean, other than some construction sounds, right? Well, I'm going to have to go find out what's going on when we're done here because a woman is here. Some woman has shown up, and she's speaking Spanish. And she's down there, obviously, with one of the workers. There's been no woman here. And I'm like, this woman has not shut up for an hour. She's not shut up for a freaking hour. And I'm like, went over there and just slammed the door. I'm like, be quiet. Anyway, I'm being mean, but I don't care. It's like, what are you saying? I mean, just stop talking. Anyway, what's up, guys? We're going to have a good time today. We're going to have fun. I tell you, I'm going to get David and Steve on here in a little bit. And, I was reading, I posted on Facebook. I said, all right, y'all, let's talk about it. Halloween. Should Christians celebrate it? Is it harmless fun, or have we blurred the line between holy and haunted? Today on the Chad Prather Show, we're digging into the history, the faith, and the fight between light and darkness. Tune in and join the discussion. Boy, people really get fired up over just anything. I mean, just anything. Some of the comments on these deals, I mean, people are just automatically pissed off. I can remember a long time ago. And by the way, they get pissed off if, yes, it's okay to celebrate it, and they get pissed off if, no, it's not okay. Can't believe that's even a question. How dare we even bring it up? And they got other people who said, it doesn't matter, God doesn't care if I dress up like something. Okay, let's talk about it. Why not? I love stirring the pot, man. Some people say I'm divisive. Whatever. I don't think I am. I think we should talk about things. I mean, I was sitting there talking to Sarah Gonzalez a little while ago about Candace Owens in her most recent episode. And I'm like, I can't even talk about Candace Owens anymore because I don't even know what the world she's talking about anymore. I mean, she's all over the place. And it's like, just come out with it if you know something. But I don't want to get into all that. I'd rather talk about Halloween. Tomorrow's Halloween, or so they tell me. It's also the date when Martin Luther nailed his 95 Theses to the Wittenberg door and the Protestant Reformation began. I wrote 95 Theses. I'd love to know if you guys would like to read my 95 Theses to the American church. I don't know if I'm ready for that battle either. I thought about posting them. I should post them tomorrow on the anniversary of Martin Luther doing it in Wittenberg, on the Wittenberg Chapel. Maybe I'll do it. I don't know. Anyway, I'd love to see what you guys think about that. But anyway, I did the Halloween thing growing up, the pumpkins and the pillowcases. And, we did a whole lot of stuff that maybe wasn't the best idea. We scared the neighbors and we did all the crazy stuff. But so I'm not pretending that I came out of the womb preaching against every holiday or something like that. I don't know that I preach against it now necessarily. But I think that it's worth having a discussion, if for nothing else, of knowing why you believe what you believe. And maybe you don't believe anything. And that's whatever. That's between you and you, I guess. But I want to get David and Steve on here in just a little bit and talk to them about, some of our memories as well as some of the things that sort of shape our lives. And then let's get into our worldview a little bit and why I think it matters that we should have these discussions, because there's some people out there who are at each other's throats on social media or even in relationships in the family. And it's not just Halloween, it's how people celebrate any holiday, really. And I think it's worth having this discussion so maybe we can bring a little peace into our conversations and we're not ready to kill each other over a disagreement. We just don't know how to disagree anymore. That's something that bothers me. Like, how can we, we just get riled up. We think if somebody disagrees with us, that we take it as a personal attack and everybody wants to jump down each other's throats. And look, I'm guilty of doing it as well. But, I want to go back into the history of some of these things because I think that history is not being told. What is the history of this event? This, if you want to call it a holiday, I guess you could do all that. Why do we take this night that's built around darkness, fear, and death, and we celebrate it in such a way that I think we need to understand what we're actually celebrating and what we're doing. It's more than just handing out Snickers bars to the kids who come around dressed up all cute and stuff. And so, for a lot of people, Halloween has been a memory maker. It's been a time to have some fun, and you can look back on that. But I want to ask, why are we doing what we're doing? And so let's get into it. There's no condemnation for here. I can tell you that. I want us to discuss it. I want us to have a conversation. So I'm glad you guys are here. Thank you for blowing up the chat with some of those dancing bananas. And what else can we do? Oh, you know what? I got to talk about my buddy Elijah. He gets the sponsors for the show, and been a partner of mine for years and years when I was on the Blaze. And he's got this coffee company called First Cup, and he's got some coffee shops out there, but you can order it. You can go to firstcup.com. And I said, give me a promo code because I love this stuff. I'm using it. I'm drinking it on Before the Noise in the mornings. Go to firstcup.com, firstcup.com. Use promo code CHAD. I spell it Chad. And I'm just tossing that out there for free. He's not paying me anything. I like drinking coffee, and this is good coffee. So it's one of the things those guys are installing is a coffee machine. Yes, they're installing a coffee machine because I'm too good for Mr. Coffee. I'm too good. We don't allow the cheap stuff around here in the little cabin in the woods. Let's get into some history. Let's get into some knowledge. Let's get into some memories, okay? Let's see what it's all about. And to do all that, let's bring on everybody's deep critical thinker. He really is. He's street smart as well. Party Foul Steve, everybody. What's up, buddy?
Good morning. Just getting ready for Halloween. Halloween's a fun. When is Halloween? Tomorrow night? Tonight?
Tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow. Yeah.
I'm not going to be at home. Yeah. My lights will be out at the house. So
yeah, are you you will be home or you won't be home?
I will not be home. And even if I was, I'm at that. We don't have any kids at home. I turn out the lights and pretend I'm not home. I'm that guy in the neighborhood. I'm not answering the door. We'll get into that more, but I'm not gonna be at home. So
let's save a little bit of that conversation for David. I want to get David on here. He's a kind of a different generation, right? So he's younger than we are. You and I are in our 50s. David is in he's younger than we are. Okay, let's bring him on. Our producer David Medina, everybody.
How's it going, guys? Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's go out on a bang today, Chad, if we could, please. I need it.
You need it. You need a bang.
A bang.
Energy drink?
Oh, okay. I was like, what? That's something different. Yeah. Different show.
No. Are those even around anymore? Bang energy drinks? You don't hear about them anymore.
No, they were a fad during COVID.
So, David, do you care about this World Series now that your Mariners are out of it?
Dude, no, I don't.
You're still hurting?
I love the Dodgers. They're my second favorite team because a lot of my family's from LA. Yeah, a lot of my family's from LA. My grandma had a whole room dedicated to the Dodgers. So I am a Dodger fan, but I'm still in mourning from what cheater George Springer did and the Houston Astros to the Mariners. So
you're going to have to get over that, dude. That's a long time ago.
I ain't getting over nothing, Steve.
I'll say this.
Hanging on trash cans and winning World Series. We were getting cheated out of them. So
all baseball teams cheat. I promise you.
Dude.
They all cheat.
Whatever, dude.
Every single one of them cheat.
How do you think the Mariners got so far this year? Cheated.
You're going to take every edge you can. That's for sure. Anyway, I don't know, man. I think Toronto's going to take this thing. This is I think maybe it goes to Game 7. I think it's just going to be hard for the Dodgers to go to Toronto, and Toronto surprised me. They're a lot better than I thought they were going to be
because they have 3 Astros. playing
Well,
on.
they do have that. And,
I'm going to tell you right now, Dodgers in 7. It's going to be Shohei Ohtani and the whole team, the whole roster of the Dodgers. They're just too good to lose. Like, I don't think if the Blue Jays are going to beat them, it has to be in 6. If they take them to 7, it's over.
Maybe so. But I guess the remainder of the games will be in Toronto, right?
It's 2-3-2, right?
Yep, 2-3-2.
So, we'll see what the Dodgers can do. I don't count them out. I like Freddie Freeman. I like Ohtani. I think Ohtani is arguably the greatest baseball player that's ever played. Now, it's too early to say that. But he could possibly become. I mean, the dude hit 3 home runs the other night and struck out 10. I mean, that's
and he got 4 of the unders right too. That's pretty great.
Somebody said, when he did the fast trot around the bases, you can like bet on how long it takes him to run around the bases on a home run. And he did the fast trot, and I was like, I bet his interpreter was in there laying money at Bet Online. He was like, if I hit a dinger, I'm sprinting. Okay.
Man, that's how baseball and stuff. Those sports get rigged on bets like that.
Yeah.
It's like, is anybody like standing for truth anymore? Is anybody like having integrity anymore? Because, my Portland Trailblazers here in Portland, Oregon.
I was going to ask you about that too.
Our head coach just got pinched for like being the face for the mafia of getting funneling NBA players and coaches to the mafia for betting, and he was betting on games. I mean, this whole thing that's happening with Chauncey Billups, the former head coach of the Blazers, it is worse than Pete Rose. Way worse than Pete Rose.
It is.
And it's been going on since
I think it goes more.
It's been going on all these years. This ain't just this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you could uncover all the dirt, it would be really, really bad. It would be really, really, really bad. But yeah, Pete Rose got hosed. And I'm not saying what Pete Rose did was right. I'm not arguing for that, but he really got hosed, and
he did.
In that whole deal. So that was an unfortunate deal. But he did. He bet on his team. At least Pete Rose bet on his teams to win.
Yeah,
he bet on his teams to win.
Yeah, if you're betting, it's a lot easier to fudge the out. Like, it's a lot easier to have the outcome that you want if you're betting against your team, because there's a lot of things you could do to sabotage. A lot harder to like bet on yourself to win than try to win. It's a lot harder to win because you're not as in control than if you sabotage it. So
yeah, it's not it's not Shoeless Joe Jackson, the 1919 Black Sox or whatever they were, 8 men out, whatever that movie was. But yeah, that deal where they threw the series. But anyway.
I'm just waiting for BLM to start marching here in Portland for Chauncey Billups, man. Be like, oh, you took out a black coach, and there you go, targeting black people again. Trump. I mean, even Stephen A. came out and was like, here comes Trump. It's just like, dude, I'm waiting for that narrative. Chad, this is why I think we decided to talk about this today, because we all kind of need a break from this whole like insane news cycle that we don't even know where truth is anymore in the news cycle. We know where our truth is.
Exactly. And I was sitting there this morning and I was looking at the stuff, and Chuck Schumer came out on X and was talking about how the Republicans did not pass the whatever that most recent proposed bill that would put the SNAP and the WIC back in place. And it's like, bro, you've voted no 13, 14 times now on a clean bill that would have put all that back in place. Yeah. You guys are just going to keep protecting yourself and your money laundering scheme. And so I said, I'm just tired of it. Like, I like you asked me, you said, what do you want to talk about today? And I said, not politics. I really don't. Like, I just don't. I don't want to talk about it. I want to talk about Halloween. I want to talk about Halloween. I want to. What do you, Steve? You're going to be dressed up like a deer hunter, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm gonna dress up like a deer hunter. I don't care if I kill anything. I just go out and sit in the woods, be by myself, talk to God, and all that kind of stuff, and hope and pray that Tony kills the big buck. So that's that way.
Get a picture of us for Instagram real quick. Hold up.
Get a picture for Instagram. Put it on there. Hang on, everybody, smile at the deal. Everybody in the chat, look at your screen and smile. Nailed it.
Yeah, I just go out there and sit in the woods because I like that. I don't have to do anything. So
goodbye, Renee. I see you leaving the chat. Enjoy your meeting. All right, so Samhain. That is the fire festival where Halloween came from. It's spelled Samhain. Now, how you get Samhain from Samhain?
Is that Chinese or something?
It's Celtic. It looks like Samhain. Samhain, but it's not. It's Samhain. That's how you pronounce that. So you had the ancient Celts in Ireland and Scotland and in Wales, and it's the end of the harvest, and it's right before winter's coming in, And so these people, obviously, they were agrarian, so they depended on the earth for everything. And so when the seasons changed is when they believed that the powerful spiritual forces were at work, and they thought that on that particular night, that the boundary between the living and the dead basically disappeared, okay? That's what they celebrated. And so the spirits of the departed were actually allowed to come and walk among the living. And so they threw a fire celebration about this. They were believed to, some they thought would bring blessings, some would bring curses, some would bring sickness, some would bring death and destruction, right? So to keep the bad ones away, the villagers for Samhain would build these massive bonfires, and they would sacrifice their crops or their animals, and they would wear masks in order to confuse the wandering spirits. That's a creepy looking pumpkin right there, buddy.
And now you got me scared to go in the woods because I'm literally camped out next to several little small family cemeteries that have been there since 1800s.
Yeah, you better wear your mask, dude, and light some bonfires.
I'm a lot of big. Well, we're under burn ban. I can't even keep the spirits off of the fire.
But that's where the mask came from, because they wanted to confuse the spirits, right? So the mask, the costumes, the fire, the fear. So it all became kind of a blueprint for what we know as Halloween, right? So it was all Celtic, and this is a long time ago. So now you come back, you fast forward a few hundred years, and you got the Romans who come in and conquer the Celtics, the Celts, and come in the Celtic lands. And so what they do is every time they would go in and take over an empire, they would sort of absorb the culture, right? They would blend the traditions. And so the Romans, they had their festivals around the same time. It was Feralia, which was a day of honoring the dead, and Pomona Day, which celebrated the goddess of fruit and trees. So Pomona's symbol was the apple, which is why centuries later today, people still have that tradition of bobbing for apples. And what that used to symbolize, bobbing for apples, was divination and fertility, okay?
This is all before
What are you
Christ,
laughing at, David?
You lost me at Jermaine or whatever, the Samhain or whatever. I don't know. But I was laughing because I remember your comment yesterday about Pete Buttigieg, where you're saying he bobs for bananas. Me and my team, for some reason,
bobbing for bananas.
I don't know if we were tired, but me and my team were crying, laughing after you said that yesterday. It was hilarious. Anyways.
So, Chad, I'm
slip that in just to see if...
I'm working on my timeline.
Talk, Steve.
All this you're talking about is before Jesus Christ came to earth, right?
The Celts, yes.
Okay,
so we're talking BC then, and then the Romans.
That's the pagans. Is that what you consider pagans?
It was a pagan thing, yeah.
Okay, well I'm trying to get the definition of pagan and try to understand it.
Well, pagan just means godless.
Okay, all right.
Godless. So we refer to pagans. You can refer to a pagan as being someone who doesn't believe in Christ, but pagan, by its simple definition, just means godless.
They're also a biker gang in the Carolinas.
So they weren't necessarily godless in the sense that they had their religious rituals. But David, are you holding it together? Are you still bobbing for bananas?
Well, we talk about bobbing for bananas, and everybody starts throwing bananas in the chat, dude. I just can't do it. I can't do it with y'all today, man.
Well, that's what got me laughing yesterday, was talking about, because I slipped that in there to see if anybody was paying attention. He wasn't bobbing for apples; he was bobbing for bananas at Pete Buttigieg's house. So anyway, now you're bobbing for apples so people get pregnant, right? So in Pomona days. And so these pagan rituals, they don't just vanish.
So
they get morphed.
For apples and they get pregnant?
Well, that was the whole deal. It was a ritual of fertility.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you're bobbing for fruit, man.
Look at the chat, dude. Look, the chatter's totally trying to set me up, dude. I got to get rid of this.
They are. You got bananas everywhere, dude. Pete Buttigieg, Mayor Pete's sucking a banana.
The gays, man. The gays always throw me off every time, dude.
They'll do it. People get mad at me because we throw the word gay around, and I was like, you got to chill, folks. If you come in here, we're going to make fun of everybody. But I just, Pete Buttigieg doesn't eat his banana with a little spoon. I can just tell you that right now. Okay. Now let's bring it to the church, Steve.
Okay.
In the 8th century. All right. So you're looking at 700 AD, right? So
no, I have no idea when
that'd be 700 AD in the 700s. So that's the 8th century. You got Pope Gregory III. And so what he does is he tries to Christianize all these pagan rituals, and he moves All Saints' Day to November 1st. All right. So now you've got the night before which was called All Hallows Eve, which when it gets shortened is Halloween. All right, that's Hallows Eve, Halloween. And so the idea was to replace paganism with some form of piety and to take a night of superstition and turn it into a night of remembrance for holy men and women. But the deal is, as we've seen, culture doesn't surrender that easily, and the pagans didn't give up Samhain, so they just kind of blended it in. They went from warding off the spirits to honoring the saints, but the bonfires kept going, and the costumes stayed, and the fear lingered, and what started as worship of spirits became a superstition that was basically cloaked in the Christian religion. So that's what happened. And now when you got the European settlers bring those blended traditions to America, now the melting pot goes to work again, and you got these immigrants from Ireland and Scotland which bring their customs in. So what they would do when they were in Ireland and Scotland is on those nights is they would carve turnips into lanterns to scare off the spirits. Well, they didn't have the turnips here, so they got pumpkins because we were growing pumpkins in America, and that's where the jack-o'-lantern came from.
Man,
right?
A turnip. No wonder we switched to. It seems like that'd be hard to carve.
Carve a little hole in a turnip.
Yeah.
So wasn't the heads of black people like that one reel claimed? Like how it was like that? Is there any truth to that at all?
Not a single bit. Okay. And so what David's referring to, and we made a little short about it the other day, was somebody mentioned somebody made a clip where they were saying when you're buying pumpkins that was the old American tradition of taking the heads of slaves and putting candles in their skulls and stuff like that. That has no basis in history whatsoever. None.
I did get pictures yesterday of the grandkids. They did pumpkins. They carved pumpkins. They painted pumpkins.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of Christians out there that won't even buy pumpkins. Like my mom was kind of one of those. She didn't want nothing to do with Halloween. She wouldn't let us trick or treat. We couldn't buy pumpkins. We couldn't even just carve out pumpkins and get the pumpkin seeds and put them in the oven. We couldn't do anything. Like she was really strict against that. So I don't know what you guys think of that, but there's a lot of Christians out there that, especially, well, I would say Mormons, that a lot of Mormons too, that believe that.
Yeah, my parents were not going to buy pumpkins because that's a waste of money to buy a pumpkin just to carve it up.
Yeah. I've carved some pretty good pumpkins over the years. I'm pretty solid stuff. I got pictures I'll show you guys. But Steve, your mom wasn't a big fan, and I know my mother wasn't either a big fan of anything that. We used to joke. I was like, my mom used to find a demon behind every bush, right?
Yeah, my mom was right there with it. But however, because my mom was a school teacher, she was drama teacher. Every year they did the spook house for the entire town. The drama club. They did the spook house, so she had to be right. She was right in the middle of all that. So it was almost like she's teaching me two different things. But I was a ghost every year. Whatever sheet was old that we could cut holes in, I was a ghost. I was a green ghost one year because that was the color of the sheet we had.
You were a green ghost?
Yeah, like a lime, almost like a lime or pale green ghost. We weren't going to go. We didn't go to the store to buy costumes. Back then they had the plastic mask and wore some kind of little plastic, part of a suit thing. That was for the rich kids. We didn't get that.
Yeah.
We had you get the little thing in a box. You got the little plastic deal that you could suffocate in if it got over your head, and then you had the little plastic with that little rubber band thing around your head.
That's exactly right.
We used to get excited about
that. Was for rich kids. We didn't get that.
They brought that back during COVID. I think that's what a lot of these liberals were dressed up in when they went to the store, man. I swear, there was maybe we should go as that. Chad, you want to go as that this year? Even though I can't dress up, my mom will still find a way to get me in heaven. She'll still find a way to get me.
She'll come back and get you.
I even feel guilty going to the church Harvest Day thing. I feel guilty. My mom beat it into us, dude.
Going to church, that's an alternative to the world and the demonic stuff. They take it and make it, a kind of party. This is
about 9 years ago. My buddy Kevin Lamb went as me for Halloween.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh my gosh.
Jason Story and Tim Shipman standing next to him. He went as me. Several people over the years have gone as me for Halloween.
I think I ran into him one time in the stockyards, and I thought it was you back before we really knew each other. That's probably about 12, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And,
did he talk like you? Did he have the accent too, or does he already have an accent? Like a Southern accent? Did he talk like you?
as much, but my Southern accent isn't as much as what it once was either.
Mhm.
So
You took the Georgia completely out of your accent, so
not completely. Like when I go around people in Georgia, it comes back a lot. I was trying to find when I went as Uncle Larry, because I used to do the latex. Steve will tell you I used to do the latex pretty good with the costumes and being the old man and stuff like that. But here's one of my favorites. You'll appreciate this, David. A couple years ago, I went as Glenn Beck. We did a deal there. This is me right here. Oh, let me blow it up. That's me as Glenn Beck right there.
you did a great Glenn Beck.
Put it closer to the thing.
Yeah.
Put it closer to the. Can you stretch it out?
I can, but it's going to go out of focus.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go.
You need to post that on your social media tomorrow.
Yeah,
so
post it on your social media. We'll pull it up.
That's literally me with Glenn Beck. So there you go. And I had my chalkboard there. I had my chalkboard there, and that was right when they killed Baghdadi, when the dog went in and all that stuff.
I think you even cried on the show that day you were dressed as Glenn Beck.
I tried to. There's me as Glenn Beck. That's a pretty good Glenn Beck, man.
I think I was dressed as whatever his name was.
You went as Baghdadi.
Yeah, Baghdadi.
Steve was
That's not who I
blackface.
was going to be, but apparently I was told blackface is not cool
Yeah,
anymore.
dude, you can't be wearing Baghdadi face, brother.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
well,
did.
especially when you go to a spook house.
Did
Yeah.
it right there on the blaze.
Spooky house, guys. Let's put that E on the end there. Spooky
It's a
house.
haunted house.
Yeah, haunted house. Dude, here's what I struggle with, guys. I struggle with like Halloween to me when I walk my dogs and I see all the decorations. By the way, I don't celebrate Halloween. I don't dress up. I don't do any of that. I didn't let my kid trick or treat. A lot of you disagree with that, and this should be a good faith, kind debate. This should not be splitting friends up. This is like a good in-house church debate, in-house Christian debate. So if this is like splitting you and your family and your friend, it shouldn't. This should be just a good faith debate. And so I'm not condemning anybody, and I'm not putting anybody down, and I'm not saying you're less of a Christian if you celebrate Halloween. I'm just saying for me, I don't celebrate it. I didn't let my kid trick or treat, and I have my reasons. I'll share those with you guys here in a little bit when we start talking about that part. But I struggle with it, Chad, that when I take my dogs on a walk, when I see the decorations, I get like excited. Like it's cool to me. Like the people go all out, man. Like you have people. I mean, there are houses around here that it looks like Disneyland, man. It's like they go
crazy.
all out. And so I struggle with like, you know what? This feels like I love this time of year. It's fun, but also my spirit knows that this is kind of grieves God's heart. Is that kind of, what do you think about that?
Well, I think what you're doing is you have to consider this, because what we're calling fun, you just have to go back and say originally all of this morphed out of a ritual to appease demons and ward off spirits. So if you're going to decorate your home with ghosts and graves and all that kind of stuff, you're kind of, are you mocking evil? Are you kind of echoing something from this ancient fear that humanity never really took off in their pagan rituals? So, and I'm not saying every jack-o'-lantern or pumpkin is a demonic altar, but I am saying that history matters, and the roots of a thing reveal the spirit of a thing. So if you trace Halloween back far enough, you don't find gospel, you find fear. Because these people literally did what they did out of fear. And so even if you don't know your history, the spirit of that thing sticks around. So people say, well, it's innocent, it's all about your intentions. Well, if you know history, and again, there's no condemnation here, like you said. When you go back to this, though, the ancient history of Samhain or Pomona or Halloween or Hallows Eve, all that, it's the worship of nature and spirits and the dead. And so, Deuteronomy says, chapter 18, it says, let no one be found among you who practices divination or interprets omens or engages in witchcraft or casts spells or consults the dead. And anyone who does these things is detestable to the Lord. So I'm not saying that because you put pumpkins out in front of your house. I'll confess I got some pumpkins in front of my house because I think they're pretty. I didn't carve them. I don't care.
That's also just the time of fall. The time of harvest is pumpkins and corn stalks and stuff like that. So that could be just a fall decoration until you carve it.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of okay with all of it until you break out a Ouija board.
Well, and so,
like
you laugh at that. I mean, we laugh at ghosts and we play with Ouija boards and we call all that entertainment.
Yeah.
But the early Celts, they took that stuff seriously.
Yeah.
because they knew something dark was out there. We've kind of forgotten that there's some darkness out there. And so, that's kind of where the story turns, because if you want to talk about, what we're dealing with and all of this stuff, the question becomes, why would we resurrect these old rituals of fear when we also engage in a cross and a savior that buried all that stuff?
Yeah, I think some of us, though, for the entertainment value, like to be scared. It's like watching the scary movies and stuff like that. And even as a child, you're going to go get the daylight scared out of you. You go anyway.
Yeah. The way I think about it is, and again, I want you guys, like, I'm not condemning you. I'm not whatever. Like, if you celebrate Halloween, you let your
saying it over and over again, David.
Well, because Steve, you have to remind people, because people are really emotional about this topic. A lot of Christians feel condemned by other Christians for this. And I want to make it clear that's not what I'm doing, because what I'm about to say, in addition to what I've already said, may feel like that. But basically, the way I look at it was, how does Jesus call us to live as Christians? He calls us to be in the world, not of it. And I just think that if I'm out letting my kid trick or treat and dress up and participate in a holiday that does not include God at all, like this holiday has nothing to do with the spirit of good. The spirit of God has nothing to do with Jesus. In fact, it has everything to do with the opposite. I think about the spiritual battle that we're in and how we need to protect our families. And so, we all know that the more foothold that you give the devil, you leave just a crack open for the devil in your life, and any spiritual, whether that's lust, anything in your life, you leave a little door open for the devil, and that's enough for him to come in and work in your life and push away the Holy Spirit. And that's kind of what I think when I'm if I were to let my kid dress up and I were to put out the jack-o'-lanterns and put out all the ghosts and everything. I just think to myself, am I being in the world, or am I being of it? How is God's heart towards what I'm doing here? And I just can't get there. I can't celebrate Halloween. I cannot let my kid go trick or treat, and knowing that it probably grieves God's heart, having us participate in in my opinion, a demonic holiday.
Yeah. So, and there's that kind of goes back to, there's ways to create where your kid doesn't miss out on celebrating something. You got to change that. You got to change that story for them. And that's what the churches do. They kind of give them a place that they can go and do the opposite. They still they're participating, but not so much Halloween per se.
Yes.
They're getting an alternative. They could dress up like Moses and go to the church. And
I don't know about you guys, Chad. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to give the devil, especially in today's world that is like the most deception, the most confusion, the most evil. We as Christians, we have never been attacked more. I think in my lifetime, we've never had so many avenues of attack: social media, TV, external forces that are attacking us. I don't want to give the devil a foothold as much as I can into my life, spiritually, physically, whatever. And so it's a constant battle every day. And I think that's why, you're seeing what God is doing with you, Chad, is like you've kind of been living that, where I'm not giving a foothold to these things trying to pull me down. And I won't say what they are, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's nowhere in the scripture that says thou shalt not carve pumpkins or dress like a cowboy, right? Thankfully. But, there are those principles that kind of cut through every culture and generation. And I mean, you look at Ephesians 5. Right, you keep referring to that, talking about the foothold. Don't give a foothold to the devil. Ephesians 5 also says, "Have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them." And that's a command. That's not a suggestion. No fellowship. That means we don't partner with it. We don't justify it. We don't cozy up to it. We expose it. We bring it to the light, because when you tolerate the darkness long enough, you end up calling that normal. Proverbs says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So what you give access into your soul is what you become. There's a reason why, and the movies have gotten real creepy, man, because they used to be, the monster was Dracula or the werewolf or Frankenstein. Now they make movies where the monster is us, or the monster is about the demons or the darkness that actually does exist. And so we're living in this culture that laughs at sin and entertains fear, and we're literally torturing our kids. So if you're binge watching shows about demons and then wonder why anxiety is running rampant in your heart, or you fill your mind with horror, and then you're going to ask him, pray for peace, you can't invite darkness into your life and home and then complain that the light feels dim, right? Because Romans 12:9 says, abhor what is evil, cling to what is good. That word abhor there means to hate it, to detest it. Turn away from everything. It's like a you ever something stinks, somebody smells it, you turn away from it. That's what that word abhor means.
Yeah, and you all see why Chad gets paid the big bucks, because he says it so much better than eloquent with scripture than I do. But Steve, this is to your point, Steve. Julia Michelle Green said, "I think finding a replacement for on Halloween is awesome. I love when churches throw harvest parties celebrating God." Here's where I draw the line on that. And Steve, I mean, I would love to hear what you think about this. I don't mind harvest parties as an alternative, like you said. But what do you think about churches that still allow kids and stuff and still encourage kids to dress up, even if it's as Bible characters? Do you have a problem with that?
I don't have a problem with that. That's just that'd be like telling, I don't want somebody that comes to the church that smokes, or whatever their vice or whatever the thing is. You still want them there. You want the kids there. I don't care what they dress up like. They dress up like the devil and come to church.
Yeah, that's a good point. What do you think, Chad?
I don't like being around anybody with a mask on. I just don't, man. I mean, I get why ICE does it, because they have to protect themselves. But I don't like being around. I won't go to Mardi Gras. I won't do a Mardi Gras celebration. And the reason why is because people do things in a mask when their identity's hidden that they would never do when their face is uncovered, and I don't like that.
They uncover their shirts.
I mean, it's pretty bad. So, I think the question is, should Christians celebrate? Have a trunk or treat, or they have a harvest night or something like that. I get it. I'm not a fan of the whole, and again, I'm a person who, I can show you the pictures. I've done a lot of stuff in the world of acting or sketch comedy or whatever, where, I dressed up like a freaking woman, for Chad's pads, and I'm a pretty ugly woman, but that was great makeup. And so, you do all those things for a purpose to get a laugh and stuff like that. When you're talking about Halloween, though, you're talking about something that goes back to an ancient ritual of putting on a mask in order to confuse demons and dead spirits. And that's where you got to be careful. And so I tend to agree with you. I mean, when we were kids, we used Halloween as an opportunity to be a bunch of degenerates. I mean, we ran around the streets and, we were
toilet paper houses,
we should have had our ass
egg
beat.
Cars.
I mean, we should have had our asses beat, right? But again, when we turn, I think the point is when you turn evil into amusement,
yes,
then you got a problem. Because, if he can just get you to laugh or mock God's truth a little bit, then you got a little bit of an issue, because Satan doesn't sell sin as sin. He sells it as entertainment. Yep. And he wraps death in candy wrappers, right?
Or he sells it as good, too. He sells it as good. Go ahead, Steve.
I was going to say, every time we turn our television on, it don't matter what day of the doesn't matter what day of the year. Darkness doesn't need a special day. It gets it every day.
Well, I will say this: if you are feeling convicted about wearing a mask still out in public, like I see all these pinheads at Whole Foods every time I go there every day, it's like I look at them. This is literally my look when I see them. I don't hide it either. They'll look at me and they'll see me going, and I'll just follow them.
Well,
and they know what I'm thinking. Like, why are you still wearing a mask? But I think, Chad, your point real quick on the I think that's so good what you just said about how the devil disguises evil as entertainment, but he also disguises it as good sometimes too. And that's why, in the Bible, in Galatians, it says test the spirits, test the spirits, make sure they're either, because some people say, well, I feel a word from the Lord and it tells me that, I should go kill people. No, that was not the spirit of the Lord. That was the spirit of Satan. And I think that a good point off of that is, what are we teaching our kids? If we teach our kids to dress up and like, participate in this demonic holiday, or in my opinion, a demonic holiday. It's okay if it's not your opinion. Calm down, Linda, or whoever is out there in the chat. Like, calm down. Like, listen. This is just
Linda.
my opinion. You
Linda
just
catches so much crap.
Yeah, because they're gonna light you up about Christmas, because that's a pagan holiday.
I agree with that too. But like, here's the thing: is it's where your spirit's at, right, and what you're celebrating. And there's the Christmas has everything to do with the birth of Jesus. We're celebrating the birth of Jesus and coming to the world, and God sending His only Son. Halloween has nothing to do with. There is not even one little tiny thing that any Christian can hold Halloween with like, well, God is this. But again, what are we teaching our kids? Is like, because to me, it's like, if you're teaching your kids to compromise and participate in Halloween and dress up and all this stuff and dress up demonically, they're going to look at you when you tell them, hey, you can't go watch that movie, or you can't listen to that music. You can't listen to Taylor Swift because she's demonic and she stands for demonic things. And they're going to say, well, you let us kind of like, you know what I mean? It just creates that, like, it blurs that line with your kids, in my opinion. So
like Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny.
I do know that there's a lot of people out there who do celebrate Halloween with very nefarious intentions. They're the witches and the warlocks and the Even Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan, celebrated Halloween in such a way. He said, that when you start inviting and invoking certain curses and spells and things like that, there are people out there. And so what happens is you're giving a place where we just kind of like, oh, it's all in good fun, it's all in amusement. But if you're not a discerning person, you'll end up celebrating something that I believe Christ came to destroy.
Yes.
Right? And so you do have to be careful with that. You're like, well, my kids want to be having fun like all the other kids. Well, I don't want my kids to be like all the other kids because I've seen what all the other kids are doing, and I'd really rather not have. That's why we homeschooled. And they were like, well, your kids are going to be socially awkward. Compared to who? Compared to the purple-haired whatever, in the bathroom that's in there. I don't. Compared to who? 2 Corinthians 6, verse 14, it says, what fellowship can light have with darkness? What harmony is there between Christ and Belial? What agreement is there between the temple of God and idols? And so basically the Apostle Paul was saying, if you carry light, why are you hanging out in the shadows? Because you can't live illuminated and be entertained by the dark at the same time, because the two kingdoms don't mix, right? So you're saying, you see people say, well, you guys are just a bunch of fuddy-duddies because no, I'm just telling you, know your history and know what you're engaging in and know why you're engaging in it if that's what you choose to do, because there's a lot of pagan rituals surrounding Christmas too. There's a lot of things we could do that. And again, we want to celebrate the birth of Christ. We do that. I think there's something sacred in all of that, but we engage with a lot of pagan rituals in regards to that, which is a whole other discussion. But see, to me, Halloween is not a holiday. It's a worldview because there's people out there where it's a glorification of fear, death, and darkness. It teaches people to laugh at what hell celebrates and to trivialize what I think heaven is mourning, right? So to be honest, fear has become an idol in our culture. Yeah. So we dress it up, we buy tickets to it, we experience it, we go to haunted houses, we call it thrilling. But I don't think fear is of God. 2 Timothy 1:7, God's not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and sound mind. And that spirit of fear is a counterfeit spirit. It tries to mimic that awe and wonder that we should have with holiness. So that type of fear is not the fear you have of God, right? It's a spiritual adrenaline, but it doesn't have truth tied to it. And so when you entertain fear, you're empowering that. And that's why you got a lot of kids out there. People are going to say, come on, Chad, it's just costumes and candy, lighten up. But see, the truth of that is every celebration has a spirit behind it.
Yes.
Christmas does, Easter does, Halloween does. I don't care. All of them have a spirit behind them.
But yes, Chad, those popcorn balls, you always knew which houses to go to when you're trick-or-treating. The popcorn, the caramel apples. You knew who was passing out chocolate bars, who was giving you that cheap, dollar store candy. You knew who to go to get the good stuff.
Yeah.
Just kids want candy.
Well, I think at the end of the day, Chad, I think those are really good points. I think at the end of the day, with me as a father raising a daughter, the devil, and you see this in our culture, and sorry if my mic is really loud. Someone said that my mic's kind of loud. Sorry about that. If that's the case, I blame my producers. We need to stop DEI hiring over here. But we're in Portland, so we get tax break for it. But here's the thing. I teach my kid there is black and white, and you see the world kind of blending good and evil together, like gray. I'm going to give a movie reference on this. They did this. The most recent one they did this with the franchise was Star Wars. They tried to. There was no dark side and light side. It was like gray and balance and everything. And it was like the world. Satan is trying to deceive the world through blurring the lines between good and evil and calling good bad and bad good. And I try to make it very clear to my daughter, which is there is good and there is evil. There is nothing in between. God is not lukewarm. He doesn't sit on the fence. There is good and evil. And then if things seem like it's on the fence, like you don't know, that's when you take it to the Lord and you use discernment and wisdom and you ask God to reveal to you. And that's where the Holy Spirit will reveal to you, because I tell my kid, she wants to go to all these concerts. And I'm just like, do you feel good in your spirit to be going to well, Dad, it's country and it's not that. Okay, well, let's look at some of his songs. And it's talking about, bending over girls and stuff and drinking. And I'm just like, does that seem like something that you should be going to? I'll just leave it up to you. She's 18 now. She just turned 18. Savannah, I love you. Yeah. But you have to understand there is good and there is evil. And I just think when it comes to Halloween, it's too confusing, but to me it's not. But to a lot of people, a lot of Christians, they're like, well, it's just fun, right? It's just fun. And I think the best point that's been made in this episode so far was by you, Chad, which is when you said that the devil will disguise evil, disguise good with evil or whatever, however you said it.
Well, he doesn't sell sin as sin.
Right.
He doesn't sell evil as evil. He doesn't sell fear as fear. It's
I was
going
to say, most sin is fun.
It is fun.
You think about it, in the grand scheme of things.
Because again, all of that, like I said a minute ago about fear is spiritual adrenaline without truth. See, if we look at that, if so much of our emotions is something that God gave us to have, like pain is a good thing. Pain is a blessing, right? If I put my hand on a hot stove, I'm glad that pain tells me to take it off. Because if I didn't feel pain, it would cause some significant damage. So we have these things that are given to us as gifts. Like fear is a good thing. Like my daughter, one of my kids, one time we were at Disney. And she almost ran out in front of a car. She couldn't see because she was going between two parked cars. And I screamed, "Stop!" and scared the piss out of her, but she stopped because she knew my voice. Right. So again, there is an element of we use that to teach. But see, if I'm going to use something to teach my children that says, okay, darkness is fun, fear is a thrill, death is entertainment. And listen, death ain't no joke, man.
Yeah.
Death ain't no joke. It's forever. And so I don't want to celebrate. I don't want to celebrate what Jesus conquered, right? Like, I'm not going to celebrate adultery or murder or lying. I don't want to. Why are you going to decorate your home to look like that stuff, though?
Yeah.
Why am I going to decorate my house to look like something that's causing suffering? And so we're going to put the graves out on the front lawn, and you're going to put ghosts all over your house and skeletons and all this crazy, scary crap, when I know that my Lord came to destroy and have dominion over death. So,
I think people have to realize that God is holy, and that's why he had to send Jesus, because our God is a holy God, and there's a lot of things that grieve his heart, and it's why we need Jesus. It's why having Jesus on our side and being able to have him be our mediator is so important, because without Jesus, we would, we'd have to sacrifice, things. We have to do all kinds of crazy things. And there wasn't that grace and mercy that comes through Jesus. So I think we just have to remember that. Someone in the chat said, I have trouble hearing. Dude, David is the only one I don't have trouble hearing today. Well, that probably means my mic is loud. So
you have a great mic. That's the thing. Can somebody deport farmers from the chat?
I already did it.
Okay, good deal. Yeah.
Steve gets tore up over them trolls, man.
It's like, come on now. That's not even on subject.
They need attention.
Yeah.
It's fun.
But, every now and then when I see them, I pop them. It's hard to do before the noise because I'm trying to go for an hour, and every now and then I look at the chat, and I'm like, some idiot's talking about some crap. But you're right. Isaiah 5:20 says, "Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, and who put darkness for light and light for darkness." And I'm not saying – we're not sitting here saying, listen, we all do things that are wrong. We all do things that are evil. We all have sinned, if you want to use that word. And I think it's a good word to use. But we've kind of blurred the line in things of that we celebrate. Because, again, we don't know the spirit behind it. We don't know the history behind it.
Yeah.
And, we used to go out on Halloween, and we'd hand out little gospel tracts. We used to get people cuss us out for that, man. Oh, yeah, you think I'm going to hell? Well, you are. Not because of this. I mean, apart from Christ, we all are. But, I'm not condemning anybody on any of it. I'm just saying be intentional. And whatever we do, ask yourself, if you're Christian, does it glorify Christ or does it compromise, what you say you believe? So,
anyway. It says, Julia says, Satan masquerades around appearing as an angel of light, kind of what you were saying. I think a lot of Christians don't get this today, Chad. I think a lot of Christians are ignorant today because they don't read their Bible. They go to church and they pray a couple times before meals, and they don't understand that this whole like their walk with the Lord in the spiritual battle is so much deeper and complex, which is why we need Jesus and to be in the Bible every single day. I didn't learn this until like 3 years ago. I was like 32. Like 33 when I actually learned that, man, I actually need Jesus every day. I need to be praying every day because the devil is so confusing. He's so deceptive, and things that I thought in my life that were good weren't good for me. And I didn't know most of the time because I wasn't in tune with the Holy Spirit. And so if you're out there today, you're feeling condemned, this is not to condemn you. We're not condemning you or calling you a bad Christian. We're just saying that, it can be better and you can be more in tune with the Lord, being in your Bible every day and being, searching out the Lord. The Lord, the Bible says in Proverbs that, he blesses those who searches out his heart. So, don't be afraid of just saying a prayer every morning and just reading one paragraph a day, just getting that, inviting the Holy Spirit into, and I think he's going to reveal a lot of things, including about Halloween and everything. I think he's going to reveal a lot of things to you that you're doing in your life that maybe is grieving the Father.
Linda?
Yeah, I was going to say, David, we're all convicted about different things at different times. So not everyone's going to feel convicted about it as you are right now.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
because that's where you're at in the process. Other people's they may
Sure.
never go through that conviction of, say, Halloween. It
Sure.
may be something else for them that doesn't affect you at all.
Yep. Yep.
Well,
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why it should be an in-house debate. And I'm not mad when people say, well, I'm still going to let my kid trick or treat and you're completely wrong. Okay, that's fine.
But David, you look a little dark. Like your lighting is dark, your shirt's dark, your beard's dark, your hair's dark. You're very dark today. Little,
he's not white. We don't know what color he is.
Look a little demonic there. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
David looks good. David's handsome. Everybody loves David. Just ask Linda.
Linda. Damn it, Linda.
No, what was I going to say about that? Gosh, it'll come back to me in a minute. But, we were talking about 2 Corinthians. You posted up there from Julia a minute ago, 2 Corinthians 11:14, that Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. And so, I think the key to that is I was thinking about when she posted that up there, whenever they pick up, they picked up the hitchhiker, Tommy, and, oh, brother, where art thou? And he said, I had to come here and meet the devil last midnight, trade my soul so I can play this guitar. Taught me how to play it real good. And they talk about what the devil looks like, right? Satan in deception doesn't come wrapped in darkness. It comes disguised as enlightenment and progress and kindness, right?
Yes.
And I think that's the enemy's. I know what I was going to say a minute ago is people say, well, why have this discussion because you're putting your beliefs on me? No. I think that it's one thing to say, say no. No. Like the answer is no. There's a lot of Christians out there who just say no. I'm not going to do that. The Bible says have an answer, have a reason for the hope that's within you. So I think you should be able to defend why no, because there's a lot of people who want to know, like, why shouldn't I? That's why I go into the history of it, and I say, why am I glorifying the history of death and demons and all this kind of stuff? And so I think that we need to know why so we can explain to people this is an important issue.
Yeah.
Because I think at the end of the day, Satan's greatest weapon is imitation. He's going to mimic what's holy. That's one of the reasons I'm not a big fan of the trunk or treat stuff at the church. I don't like it. I just don't.
Same.
I get why people do it, but because why are we going to mimic something? Why am I going to mimic what he does? Because he wants to mimic what's holy. He's going to mirror what's true, and he's going to distort stuff just enough to draw your eyes away from the real thing. I've told you guys over and over again, truth and error, they don't live across town. They're next door neighbors. So it's easy to slip into something.
Mm-hmm. And I don't even know where the candy came in, though. Where did the candy come into the demonic stuff?
Well, I don't know that the candy is demonic, but everybody that's a whole
White
other
sugar.
deal.
It's sugar. Sugar's demonic.
That's a whole other deal, Steve. You need to do your research.
Yeah, make sure I just want to say real quick, make sure you guys share this video, and we have across all platforms a little over 2,400 live viewers. We if you guys blow up the chat, put a comment in there. I think this episode will help out a lot of Christians because, again, at the end of the day, if you're arguing and it's causing division, this topic of Halloween, you're doing it wrong. Like, it should never cause division. If your sister lets her kids trick or treat and celebrates Halloween and you don't, and you're seeing each other, like you're seeing yourself above her, she's seeing her, like that's not how it should be. They're like, Chad said, we need to learn to disagree, learn how to disagree again in a healthy way. Now, if we're talking about, hard stuff like things that are clearly evil, like the trans agenda or the LGBTQ agenda against our kids, that's not something that we should have. We should stand on truth on that and tell it how it is and not give way to that. We shouldn't be compromising on that. So.
Well, and that's to your point, talking about masquerading as an angel of light, just to stick with that, because you're making a great point. If the devil shows up looking like the devil, nobody's going to listen. So that's why it's easy to pinpoint and look at like this, the trans stuff. You're going to, do storybook hour and all that. But if Satan shows up looking like an influencer or a savior or a movement or a preacher, people are going to lean into that, and they're going to say, well, it sounds right and it feels good. And that's how the lies start to gain the power, because if you make it fun, and when you got Satan masquerading as light in a culture, when every time evil gets rebranded as virtue and you guys just need to relax, well, that's when you have confusion that starts getting called compassion. Rebellion gets marketed as freedom. Sin gets reframed as authenticity. I just got to live my truth and your truth and everything. No, that's how darkness dresses itself up to look moral. And that's why we have the BS that we have going on in our culture right now, because it flatters our feelings, and I do what feels good, but in the end, it's poisoning our soul, right? And we're living in a time, man, where discernment is not optional. I just read, well, Sarah Gonzalez, I was at Sarah and Stephen's house the other day, And Sarah Gonzalez has been doing the story about Salina, Texas, where there's this high school teacher. Get this, David. This is Texas. High school teacher was having a relationship. He was a man having a relationship with a student who was also a boy. And they don't fire him. They send him down to the middle school where he's a coach down the road. He's putting cameras in the boys' locker rooms.
Wow.
And then when they uncover that, they call him on the carpet, and he says, well, I was just making sure nobody was stealing anything. And then he goes in, and while they're changing, he won't go in while there's other coaches. He goes in filming with his camera, and he takes one boy's backpack away from him while he's dressing and says, you won't get this back unless you do jumping jacks in front of me. Dude's still got a job.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're living in a day and age where evil's out there, and discernment is not optional. It's about survival because the evil's out there. And just because something glows don't mean it's good. Yep. And just because a voice says God don't mean it came from him. So the devil learned a long time ago how to speak fluent religion. He can quote scripture better than any of us, and he can use the church language, and he can still lead people into rebellion. That's why Jesus said, you'll know them by their fruits. You don't know them by their filters or their fame or their followers, their fruit. I feel like I'm back on Before the Noise.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I just want to point out, if you guys are if there's any confusion on how not to be on Halloween, I think we can all agree to not be like this dude right here. Check this out.
That's nasty.
Well, let's not be like this dude, right? Let's not be biting children at our door. Like when we're like if you're handing out candy, fine. But let's not be doing this. Like, let's not be biting kids. Like this poor kid is somehow going to remember this. I know you can't remember things this young, but she will remember this.
Pull up the one of Trump when the little minion, the kid in the blow-up suit, out there on the White House lawn, and he just puts the candy bar on top of him, and it just slides off. That is the funniest clip to me, dude. Here's a mask. Here's a mask you guys need. Look at this mask right here. Look at that. That's me wearing a COVID mask. Right
Yeah, we can't see that.
That's messed up, Steve. What do you mean you can't see it? That's the one that's actually see-through. You can breathe through that one.
Oh, there we go. I put my glasses on. I can.
That
see
is scary right there. That's scary right there. That's crazy.
Oh, you're talking about
Chad,
this one here?
Did you let your kids trick or treat growing up?
No.
Yeah. See, we didn't really either. We handed out candy. They dressed up and handed out candy. We didn't go like load all the kids in the car and drive around neighborhood to neighborhood.
Yeah.
I know. How many pounds of candy are these kids getting these days?
You're talking about this right here, Chad?
That was the one right there. Play the clip.
Oh, she put one up. Melania put one up there too. Slid right in the bag. Did you see it? That was smooth. He tilted his head right in the bag.
You could have put it in the bag.
Right,
But instead they just set it on top.
Smooth. Boom.
Oh, wow. That was during his first term, right? That was the first term?
Yeah.
That's funny.
I love that so much, dude.
That's good. All right, man. I'm gonna jump off, Chad. It's the top of the hour. We got some long forms to do. You've been killing it.
Oh, bro, man, you mean you're gonna make me talk some more today, David? Gonna make me talk some more.
Anyways, Chad Brigade, or I still Prather Pinheads. I don't know what you're calling them.
I don't know.
Love you guys, and I want you guys to know we love you and keep supporting the show. Tell a friend about the show. There's over 2,500 of you in this on the show right now on all platforms. If you just all tell one person about the show and say, hey, I really think you would like this, share the show, blow up the chat, keep supporting Chad. He's on to something, and he's blessing a lot of people Before the Noise. So love you guys. I'm out.
Love you.
Love you, buddy.
Get out of here.
Producer David, follow him at David Medina PDX. And I will also say follow Party Foul Steve at Party Foul Steve.
Yeah. I just want to know one thing real quick. Is David going to be man on the street during Halloween and going out and talking to people? I would love to see him out there on the street with trick-or-treaters, asking them and talk about what he talked about on here. That would be something.
Well, everybody's wearing a mask in those blow-up costumes on the streets of Portland, so they're doing that every day. They don't have to wait till Halloween to be spooky. What he's talking about when we talk about the long forms is every afternoon we put out some 10-minute mini episodes on a topic, and you should find those on YouTube or Rumble. We post them out there. And then also we've got the shorts out there. If everybody would do me a massive favor and go over to Apple Podcasts and listen, just search out Before the Noise, because I want it to stay in the top 200 of the rankings. But people have to listen to it. They have to rate it. They have to review it. You can do that with the Chad Prather Show. We've actually got some changes, I think, that are coming up in the next couple of weeks again with the Chad Prather Show. that should be fun, and I think it'll be more to the point and some exciting stuff. I haven't even told you, Steve, some of the things we're talking about. But
Hey, as long as I'm still here, I'm happy.
you'll still
about
be
it.
here.
All
You'll
right,
still
good
be
deal.
here. And I don't even know what we're doing yet. I'm just kicking around some ideas because I'm talking a lot during the day, so we're figuring it out. But I like it when David's on. It's a good time. All right, Party Foul, any final words, my brother?
Follow me on social media at PartyFoulSteve. Follow me on Venmo at PartyFoulSteve. Somebody gave me $20 yesterday.
What?
Yeah. Like, heck yeah. Somebody listens to the show. They actually listen to me.
Attaboy.
If I could get everybody to pay me $20, I could pay rent this month.
2,000 people watching, I'm guaranteeing.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, I will give you a final thought. I'll give you a final word on this thing, and that is, I go back to what you said, Julia, because if Satan masquerades as an angel of light, then that means deception is going to look like revelation. It's going to sound like empowerment. It's going to lead you into bondage, but it's going to feel like freedom, but it's going to end in slavery and chains. So you have to test every light to see what it is, because not all of them do come from God. And I'm just encouraging everybody, stand firm in the Word. Whatever you choose to do with your kids, how you parent your kids, process your kids through whatever they're dealing with. Don't just let them ad hoc make decisions or whatever without understanding the consequences of what you're doing. Nobody's saying if you're celebrating Halloween or having fun out there with the kids that you're going to hell. I'm not telling you. That's not what we're trying to tell you. We're just saying let Scripture be your filter and let the Spirit of God be your compass, because the only way to recognize counterfeit stuff out there is to know where it comes from and what the spirits are behind it, because counterfeit light is too close to the real thing, man. And when you know the truth deep enough, every imitation kind of becomes obvious. So just hang in the truth, man. You know, that's how counterfeiters know if it's a real dollar bill, is because they've been handling the real thing. Or people that detect counterfeit bills, they handle the real thing. You handle the real thing long enough, you know when the fake thing comes along. So stay in the truth, man. Stay in the truth. Guard your heart. Guard your kids' hearts. That's the parents' job. It's the grandparents' job. Guard their hearts, man, because once that evil gets in there, it's hard to get it out. Yeah, I love you guys too, man. I'm so thankful for you. Hit like before you get out of here. Subscribe on Rumble or YouTube if you've not done so already, and hit that notification button that'll tell you when we're on. I'll be back tomorrow morning for Before the Noise, 8-7 Central. And yeah, we do have a time change this weekend. I hate the time change, but the time is a-changing. Fall is here. That veil is thin between death, darkness, and the living world. All right, I appreciate you guys. I'm going to get out of here, get my book, Born for Meaning, over on Amazon, and we will talk to you in the morning. God bless you guys. You pray for me. I'm praying for you. Until then, bye.